Now, Roma Wines present
Suspense. Tonight, Voyage Through Darkness, starring Olivia de Havilland and Reginald Gardner.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California. Tonight from Hollywood, we bring you the distinguished American leading lady of the screen, Miss Olivia de Havilland. Miss de Havilland appears as a girl named Judith Webster, who found herself embarked upon a journey into darkness. Traveling with her on this perilous voyage is that suave and debonair actor, Mr. Reginald Gardner. So with the performances of Mr. Havilland and Mr. Gardner in this sea-going adventure play, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
It happened in 1939, shortly before England and Germany were at war. I was in London, serving as traveling companion to Mrs. Edna Prescott, a wealthy, quite elderly American woman. She wasn't a pleasant person, and the city's practiced blackouts were a particular source of annoyance to her. I remember thinking how ironic it was that she should die during one of them. I even thought it the cause, until the doctors assured me her death was due to a common heart ailment. I was very busy for the next few days, arranging passage to America, getting my train ticket down to Southampton, and carrying out the promise I had made so many times to Mrs. Prescott. I didn't relish any part of that.
Miss Webster, oh, yes. The young woman who's escorting the casket. Oh, here's your ticket. Gate 5, please. Both trains for Southampton. This way, please.
The young woman who's escorting the casket. He said it so matter-of-factly, as if such things occurred every day. I suppose they do. And yet, every minute on that train I felt uncomfortable, on edge. It seemed as if the trip to Southampton and the steamer docks would never end. I remember how glad I was when it did, and how cheerful the steward's voice sounded as he greeted me at the head of the gangway.
Good evening, miss. Welcome aboard. May I show you to your cabin?
Please do, steward. I'm very tired.
12A, B deck. This way, miss.
Tracking down blackout killer. Police hot on train the blackout killer.
I hope they get him all right, miss.
Get who?
Police have new clue on blackout killer.
Boy, that blackout killer. The police have a new clue on him, he says.
Oh, yes. An awful thing.
Ah, here we are, miss. 12A. You have it all to yourself.
Thank you, steward. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you are.
Oh, that's quite all right, miss. Thanks, and good night. Call me if you need me now.
Good night. In my stateroom, perfectly safe, I realized how jittery I'd been, how upset. And now, how relieved. Suddenly I began to laugh right out loud. My fears had been so foolish, so very foolish. An hour later, I went out on deck. I no longer felt tired, and I wanted to watch the lights of the coastline fading away from us. I was standing near the aft rail, quietly looking out across the water when he first spoke.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Did I frighten you?
Oh. Yes. Yes, you did. I didn't realize there was anyone near that lifeboat.
Well, I'm sorry. I was sure you saw me. I never would have...
Well, it's all right, really. I've been nervous tonight anyway. I'm not always so jumpy.
What you need is an ocean voyage.
Maybe that's it.
Were you watching the shore lights?
Yes, and I never did answer your question. They are beautiful.
Very. And the sea alone is beautiful. She has moods, you know, just like a woman. Gentle sometimes and soothing, then suddenly flying into a rage and dashing things to pieces.
And then quieting right down again.
That's right. I see we feel the same about her.
Does she frighten you sometimes?
The same way women frighten me.
Oh?
I mean, when I don't understand them.
Well, I thought it was the general male consensus that we weren't supposed to be understood.
Only loved. Isn't that the rest of it?
Something like that.
Anyway, it's a philosophy I disagree with.
That's refreshing.
Ah, the lady is amused.
Oh, not at all. It's just that the lady detects a bachelor.
Because I have a mind of my own?
Well, that's one good clue. But listen to me. I'm lecturing to you as if I believe that bit of triteness ends up as if I'd known you all my life.
Oh, wait a minute. There's another which makes it perfectly all right. It's that shipboard friendships last forever business. However, my name is Alan Bruce. Yours?
Judith Webster.
A miss or...
Miss.
Good. Well, we got through that.
Quite nicely.
You suppose we could get through a dance? There's music in the salon.
Well, there's no longer any view of the shore lights. However, you did say the sea alone was beautiful.
I was so wrong. There's nothing as monotonous as all that water.
It is kind of flat.
Yes, well, let's trade it for champagne, shall we? Be with you in a minute.
Where are you going?
Well, just over here. Wanted to do the skipper a little favor.
What is it? Oh, the lifeboat cover. How did that ever get so loose?
I don't know. I noticed it a while back. There. Well, that should do it.
Strange. It was almost as if... Oh, no.
Well, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to get melodramatic and suggest that someone might have been hiding there.
You mean a stowaway?
Yes. Well, of course it's silly.
I wouldn't say so.
You're joking.
Not at all. It's quite possible someone could have slipped on board and hid in that boat. That's why I think we shouldn't mention this to anyone.
What?
It would only cause an alarm.
But I don't understand. Do you really think there might have been someone... I shall never forget that moment and the thoughts which went racing through my mind. My nervousness on the train, those horrible headlines about the blackout killer, that newsboy had shouted an hour before, Alan's strange attitude about the lifeboat, the whole unpleasant nature of this voyage, and my promise to Mrs. Prescott. I wanted to turn and run, wanted to cry out, but somehow I couldn't. It was like a dream when you can't move. And then the darkness was swept away, and I was no longer dreaming. I was in Alan's arms dancing. There were laughing, carefree people all about us, and the ship's salon was so bright and friendly. I was ashamed for even thinking there might have been anything wrong.
Had enough? They just brought our champagne.
Well, in that case, yes. I'd about given up.
Well, a fine way to talk about my dancing.
You know perfectly well what I mean.
Oh, all right. Let her go, waiter.
Right you are, sir.
There we are. All right. Thank you, waiter. That'll be all.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that does look good.
And is. Well, what should we toast to? Shipboard friendship?
Shipboard friendship.
You know,
What is it? Something wrong?
No, nothing at all. Just thought I saw some, and will you excuse me a moment?
Well, of course.
I won't be long.
All right, miss. Oh, excuse me, miss, but the gentleman, he dropped this billfold.
Oh, thank you, waiter. I didn't notice. Would you just leave it there on the table?
Very good, miss. There you are.
The billfold fell open as the waiter placed it on the table. I couldn't take my eyes from it. There was an identification card in plain sight. The name on the card was not Alan Bruce. It was Charles Drew.
Sorry to have run off that way. I never should have. Didn't know the fellow at all. Say, you haven't touched your champagne. You'll let all the kick go out of it.
I'm afraid all the kick has gone out of it.
Well, we'll soon take care of it. Oh, my billfold. Where did you find it?
It was on the floor. The waiter picked it up.
The waiter, did he look at it?
No.
Well, we found an honest man, eh? Have to remember him.
Hadn't you better look to see if you found an honest woman?
I'll take a chance.
On my honesty, yes. But what about a woman's curiosity?
Oh, I see. Well, now you know. Well, I must be more careful of my things in future. But you know, I'm sure you wouldn't tell anyone anything.
No?
No. I knew from the very first that I could trust you implicitly.
Stop your music. Stop your music. Stop. Stop.
Say, what's happening? What's up, Stuart? Why is the music stop? What's the matter?
Attention, everybody. The first officer has something to say to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to break in on your dancing this way, but I assure you this won't take long. We've just received a radiogram from London, and I must ask your cooperation.
Something important? Maybe it's war with Germany.
No, it isn't war. Nothing nearly as alarming as that. However, the London police suspect that we're carrying a stowaway, and they've asked us to make a thorough search of the ship and report back to them.
Really? Must be a criminal.
A criminal? Oh, no, I don't...
Perhaps it's the blackout killer.
A killer? No more shit.
Now, wait a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen. It won't help to get excited. The ship is being searched. He'll never get off. All we ask is that you keep your cabins locked.
I was afraid this might happen.
How long did you expect to keep it from them?
Naturally, I was hoping they'd never... Judith. Well, Judith, what's wrong? Where are you going?
Hey, look at him.
What the devil?
Hey, what's the matter, handsome? She run out on you?
Well, please let me through, will you?
Okay, sure. Go to it, mister. Don't let her get away. You know, maybe she thinks that you're the blackout killer.
Tonight for Suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you Olivia de Havilland and Reginald Gardner. You have heard them in the first act of Voyage Through Darkness by Joel Malone. Tonight's tale of Suspense.
It is a fact that connoisseurs of many foreign lands have discovered the excellence of Roma wines, the greatness of California's wine country from which Roma comes. But millions of Americans also know these things and have made Roma by far the most popular, the largest selling of all America's wines. Here at home, Roma wines are truly inexpensive. For only pennies a glass, your meals, your entertaining, can have the added delight of superb Roma wines. You will find them constant in quality, of unvarying excellent taste and character. Fine products of age-old winemaking skill, perfected by modern knowledge. To start enjoying this really fine wine yourself, simply place on the table with dinner tomorrow a well-chilled bottle of hearty, ruby red Roma California Burgundy. Don't worry about what the meal is or what glasses you have handy. You'll be delightfully surprised at how much extra enjoyment you get from your meal. How Roma wine makes even the simplest meal a feast. Enjoy Roma wines anytime with meals when entertaining. It's the easy, inexpensive way to make a big hit with guests and with the family. Be sure to ask your dealer for R-O-M-A, Roma wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
Now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our soundstage Miss Olivia de Havilland and Mr. Reginald Gardner as they continue Voyage Through Darkness, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'll never know why I left the dining salon without telling them. Certainly there could no longer be any doubt. It was all too clear. That loose canvas covering on the lifeboat, the way he'd been standing there, even the name he had given me, Alan Bruce. I saw it later on the regular passenger list. He must have killed Bruce and thrown him overboard, taking not only his name, but his stateroom and clothes. It was all so fantastic. Worse than anything else. I had almost fallen in love with him. He knew that, I'm certain. It was why he was so confident that I wouldn't tell anyone. And I didn't. Not even when I spoke to the first officer about my promise to Mrs. Prescott. I wanted to tell him, but somehow
Miss Webster, I'll arrange it for early tomorrow morning. Most of the passengers will be asleep.
Thank you. I suppose it's rather unusual, but then Mrs. Prescott was an unusual woman.
I haven't conducted a burial at sea since the last war. However, I'm not entirely unprepared. The company officials spoke to me about this before sailing, and, well, now, don't you worry, Miss Webster. The ceremony will be quite in order, I assure you.
Thank you.
I'll bid you good day, ma'am.
I wish you hadn't done that. Oh, I'm sorry. I seem to have a habit of startling you.
What do you want? How long have you been standing there?
Long enough to overhear that conversation.
You had no right. What are you doing in my cabin?
Please, I know what you're going to say. I had no right to be here or to listen. However, it's fortunate that I did.
What do you mean?
I didn't know that it was Mrs. Prescott's desire to be buried at sea.
No one knew it. But it was her last wish. I promised her it would be carried out.
And tomorrow morning you're keeping that promise?
Yes. And now, if you'll excuse me, I don't feel very well. I'd like to...
Wait, please, Judith. You've been avoiding me, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I hope it's only because you've been upset. About Mrs. Prescott, I mean.
That's one reason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I almost thought we were beginning to become very good friends. You know, you're the only person on board whom I can trust.
You're very sure about that, aren't you?
Of course. You know who I am and what I'm doing on this ship, and yet you've told no one.
I wanted to.
I know. Women were never meant to keep secrets. However, I'm going to ask you to keep one more.
I'd rather not.
Sorry. I must include you this time. You see, it requires a change in your plans so they'll fit in with mine.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
It's very simple. Judith, this may upset you, but I must ask that you tell them that you've changed your mind, that you don't want Mrs. Prescott buried at sea.
What?
You remember what they said? Even if they couldn't find the stowaway, he'd never get off the ship. Well, he could get off very easily if you'd allow him to take Mrs. Prescott's place in that casket.
What, in that casket?
Yes. Clever, eh?
Clever?
Well, not every man would think of it. Simple as it may seem, everyone searching the ship, questioning each passenger, and all the while the man they were seeking would be safe inside the casket. He would only have to wait, patiently, and then be hoisted from the ship's hold, lowered onto the pier, and whisked safely away in a funeral car.
When he was discovered by the funeral attendants?
Oh, I'm sure they'd be so shocked at the dead coming to life, he'd have little trouble in...
Stop it! Stop it, do you hear? If you haven't any respect for the dead, I'm afraid I have.
Oh, Mrs. Prescott, you mean? I should have told you that part of it. Her last wish has already been carried out. You see, her body was removed from the casket the night we sailed. Mrs. Prescott is already buried at sea.
You've thought of everything, haven't you?
Yes. In my position, one must.
I remained in my cabin all that day and next. I was afraid to see him again. I can't explain the strange fascination he held over me. I remember how surprised the first officer looked when I told him I had changed my mind about the burial. It was as if he sensed the truth, as if he knew Mrs. Prescott's body wasn't in the casket, that it was empty. But of course it was only my imagination and my sense of guilt for this terrible wrong I was doing. When we sailed into New York Harbor, I went out on deck. He was standing there near the port rail. I went up to him. He turned and smiled as if he'd been expecting me.
Oh, there you are. I've missed you. Haven't been under the weather?
No, I've been perfectly well.
You had me worried, not showing up at dinner. You know, I've come to depend on you.
Yes, I know.
I've decided not to let you get away from me. After this is all over, we must,
You haven't much time.
Oh, that's right. This may not be easy. Wish me luck?
Haven't I done more than that already?
Yes, of course. Only, like this, Judith.
As suddenly as he had taken me in his arms, he released me, and I remained there by the rail as he hurried away. I watched as the ship moved on into the harbor under the guidance of the tugboats with their shrill, insistent little whistles. I listened to the shouts of the crew and longshoremen. Soon we were alongside the pier. And the steward was shouting from the head of the gangway, and then I saw it. The casket. They were lowering it toward the pier. There was a car waiting, a long black car, and suddenly I realized what I had done, what a fool I had been, what a cowardly, frightened little fool. Wait! Stop them! Don't let them take it! Don't let them! Wait, please! You mustn't touch that casket. There's something wrong.
Huh? Hey, what's the matter with you, lady? Get out of the way, will you?
But there's a man in there alive. He's hiding.
Sure. Hide and go seek he's played in a coffin. Go on, lady. We got work to do.
Slam those rear doors tight, Ed.
Please, you must listen to me. If you won't, I'll call the police. Someone has got to stop him.
Did I hear you call for the police?
Oh, yes, these men won't listen to me, but there's a man hiding in this casket.
Of course there is. We put him in there, Judith.
What did you say?
I said we put him in there. Or rather, we let him walk right into our trap.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me there's someone else inside that casket?
Well, surely you're not trying to say that you thought I was in there.
But who else?
Who else? Why, the blackout killer, of course.
Then he's getting away. You're letting him get away.
No, Judith. No. Those men know who's inside that casket. And they know right where to take him.
Take him?
You know, Judith, for someone who helped plan this entire thing, you're acting very strangely.
I'm acting strangely.
It's almost as if you didn't know who I am at all.
I don't.
What?
I said I don't know you. I still don't.
But the night I dropped my billfold, I thought surely you...
All I learned that night was your real name, Charles Drew.
You mean you didn't look at the rest of my papers?
Certainly not.
But that's amazing. Say, you are different.
Yes, and I suppose you're the everyday run-of-the-mill type. Look, what is this?
Oh, it's all very simple, Judith. I thought you'd learned of my affiliation with Scotland Yard when you had my billfold.
You mean you're a detective?
I've even been called a bloodhound.
Then all this time, you've been trailing the killer.
That's right. We had a tip-off he might be on this ship, and when I discovered the loose lifeboat covering, I was certain of it.
Then Alan Bruce, he wasn't murdered at all.
He never existed. Just a name I was using. Good Lord, Judith, you know detectives never travel under their own names. It just isn't done.
No, everything has to be done the hard way. I suppose that's why you just didn't find the killer and arrest him on board.
Oh, no, hardly. You see, I couldn't find him. Searched the ship from top to bottom. I guess he really would have given me the slip if I hadn't looked in the casket.
He was hiding there all the time?
No, it was empty.
I don't get it.
Neither did I at first. And then I began to wonder why he would remove Mrs. Prescott's body from her casket unless it was part of some plan. And I decided that it was. A weird yet thoroughly clever plan. Remember I told you not every man would think of it?
Yes, you did say that.
He had only to wait patiently until the ship docked.
Then, at the last minute, slip into the casket.
And be hoisted out of the hold onto the pier and whisked safely away in the funeral car.
And to think, if it hadn't been for you, he might have gotten away with it.
Oh, you helped plenty by calling off that burial and leaving the way open for him.
Oh, no, Charles. I nearly wrecked everything. I thought you were the killer.
Well, no wonder you avoided me.
I was so mixed up. I thought I knew so much.
No, it's my fault, darling. I overestimated you. Is it all clear to you now?
Well, no, that is, it's clear about how, well, the killer and the casket, but I don't know whether...
What? You mean about the lifeboat and...
No, about you. I'm not clear whether or...
You mean whether or not I'm really Scotland Yard? Well, I am. You can really...
No, I'm just not sure whether...
But, Judith, there's nothing else. Oh, except, of course, that I love you, and...
What was that again?
I said I love you.
How can I be sure?
Judith, darling.
Oh, Charles. That makes it very clear.
And so closes Voyage Through Darkness, starring Olivia de Havilland and Reginald Gardner. Tonight's study in Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear.
If you are one who does not yet know how much and how delightfully Roma wines add to your meals, well, let me urge you not to miss out any longer on such a treat as this. There's nothing complicated about it. Just get and serve Roma wine with any meal or any time in any kind of glass you wish. Serve it chilled. Try the many different kinds of Roma wine until you find those you like best of all. Try Roma California Sherry with its wonderful nut-like flavor as an appetizer. Or ruby red Roma Burgundy, or the deliciously delicate flavored Roma Sauterne. These superb wines cost you only pennies a glassful. Yet they make even the simplest meal taste like $1 million. Get some today. And if your dealer is temporarily out of Roma, please try again soon. Ask for ROMA, Roma Wines, America's largest selling wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is Olivia de Havilland. I have certainly enjoyed appearing here tonight on Suspense, which is a program I've admired for a very long time. Our government has asked us to bring to the attention of women listeners a very important message. In spite of our wonderful victories on all the fighting fronts, you must remember that the war is by no means over or nearly over. Hundreds of thousands of women must get into war work this year. You're desperately needed, both because you are admirably fitted for these jobs and because you represent the only adequate source of labor to replace the men in the armed forces and in the heavy war industries. Make a realistic appraisal of your household duties and your state of health. Talk it over with your family and with friends who are now employed in war work or in one of the branches of the Women's Armed Services. If you are still in doubt after analyzing the situation, go to the United States Employment Service office and ask for information about the kinds of full-time or part-time jobs for which you are best suited. We cannot stress too highly how vitally necessary your immediate action can be. And here is a thought for everyone. 6 million Americans are fighting overseas. Here at home, let us all remember that until final victory everywhere, winning the war still comes first with every last one of us.
Reginald Gardner appeared through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of Darrell F. Zanuck's Wilson. Next Thursday, same time, Joseph Cotton will be your star of Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines. R-O-M-A. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense. Tonight, You'll Never See Me Again, starring Joseph Cotton.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, who tonight from Hollywood bring you as star Mr. Joseph Cotton. And so with Cornell Woolrich's story of marriage and murder called You'll Never See Me Again, and with the performance of Mr. Cotton as an American husband named Ed Bliss, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
So, you're walking out on me.
What does it look like to you?
Like you're walking out on me? Got everything you need?
At least I'm glad you're showing your true colors. I'd rather have found it out now than later.
Didn't take you long, did it, baby? If you're looking for your coat, it's in here.
Thanks.
Need any money?
I don't need anything from you, including your wedding ring. There. And you know what you can do with it.
Sure, hawk it. Well, pick a nice, quiet hotel.
I don't have to pick a hotel. I'm no orphan.
And when you get good and sick of it, come on back and maybe I'll still be here.
You'll still be here. You'll never see me again as long as you live.
You'll never see me again as long as you live. You'll never see me again as long as you live, she said. If I'd known then what I know now, I guess that wouldn't have sounded so funny. All right. Maybe I'm not the easiest guy in the world to get along with, but it's perfectly natural for a couple to have at least one good fight after they've been married nearly 3 months. And I just wasn't going to be the first one to say uncle, that's all. Still, you don't wait around forever when your wife walks out on you, even if you are playing hard to get. So the third evening, I put in a call. I knew all along she'd head for her mother's place, and anyway, she'd practically told me where she was going when she left.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Is this Mrs. Alden?
Yes.
Oh, this is Ed, Janet's husband?
Oh, yes. How is Janet?
Isn't she there with you?
With me? Why, no. Isn't she with you?
No. That was all I needed to hear. Grabbed my hat and headed for the bus station. That was the only way she could have possibly gone to her mother's place at that time of night, by bus. First, I wanted to find out if there was anybody who could positively identify her as having left. The guy at the ticket office wasn't very bright.
To West Hampton?
Yeah.
Well, seems like I remember somebody like that.
It would have been Monday night. just about this time.
West Hampton, Monday night.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Couldn't be sure, though.
Never mind. Give me a ticket.
Where to?
Where do you think? West Hampton. She was blonde, blue eyes, good looking.
Sure. I remember her.
Where'd you get off?
I think it was West Hampton.
Close for the night, mister. Pumps are all locked.
I just wanted some information.
Huh?
Can you tell me where the Aldens live?
Alden? Oh, yeah, they're those new people.
Yeah.
Well, you go up the crossroad there and then turn to your left. Go on down the hill. It's the 1, 2, 3, let me see. No, 4th driveway on your right.
Did anyone ask you how to get there last Monday night?
Oh, we're closed Monday.
Thanks.
The 4th driveway on your right.
Oh, come on.
Must be somebody lost their way.
Yes?
I'm Ed Bliss, Janet's husband.
Oh, yes. Come in, Ed. I've been looking forward so much to meeting you. I wish it could have been under different circumstances, though.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Haven't you heard anything yet, Ed?
No, me? No.
Can't understand it. It's not like her to do a thing like that. Oh, Ed, pardon me. I want you to meet Mr. and Mrs. Farley. We were just playing a little bridge.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And this is my husband, Joe Alden. Guess that makes him your stepfather-in-law, doesn't it? Joe, this is Ed Bliss.
How do you do?
Nice to meet you, Ed.
Well, I guess we'd better be going.
Yes, I guess we have.
I do hope that your wife... I mean...
Well, I wouldn't worry about that.
Oh, you heard about it, did you?
Well, Ed, you see, they dropped in a little while after you phoned, and we thought...
Oh, that's all right.
Well, thanks for asking us over.
Come again, real soon.
Yes, we'll do that.
We
Now,
will.
I hope
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh,
Good night. Oh, Ed, I hope you didn't mind about them.
It's all right. Okay.
Well, come on into the living room then and tell us about it.
Not much to tell you that you don't know, is there?
No, I suppose not.
Sit down.
Thanks.
Can't I get you something to eat?
No, thanks.
Oh, some coffee or
I
something.
think I'll pass up the refreshments this time.
Well, I know how you must feel.
Yeah, I guess you do.
But I still can't. I just can't.
You've painted this room lately, haven't you?
Yeah. What about it?
Nothing, just looks a little funny, that's all.
You think so?
Yeah, that brick wall in front of the house is kind of new, too, isn't it?
You know I'm a bricklayer by trade, don't you?
Well, now that you mention it,
Oh, Joe, how can you talk about...
You better go on upstairs, Laura. She's taking it pretty hard.
Yeah.
You seem to be bearing up all right, though.
You haven't lost any sleep over it yet yourself, have you?
I'm not her husband.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Oh, what's that?
Laura, I guess she's going to bed.
Oh. Well, I guess I better be getting down to get that last bus.
How about staying overnight?
No, thanks.
Suit yourself. Wait a minute, I'll put the porch light
I
on.
can see all right.
That's better. By the way, what happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
I suppose you and Janet had a row.
What's that got to do with anything?
I hear you got kind of a temper. Were you a little too quick with the flat of your hand?
What's all this for, the benefit of the neighbors?
Might be. Have you notified the police yet?
No, and I don't like the way you ask questions.
Okay. Want me to walk down to the bus with you? It's pretty dark.
Maybe that's why I'd rather walk down alone.
Now, wait a minute, Ed. I think maybe you got me
All
wrong.
right. Maybe I have. Say good night to Mrs. Alden for me.
Yeah. Let us hear from you.
Don't worry. You'll hear from me, all right. Still plenty dark when I got back to town, but I took the shortcut at the corner just the same, a path across the vacant lot. Between the lot and my house, there's a hedge. I was just going through it when I stopped cold. There was a light on in my house. Only it wasn't a regular light. It was the beam of a flashlight moving past the living room window. That could only mean one thing, cops. Of course, it was Joe Alden that tipped them off. I just waited, and then I heard the front door open and close. I saw two men standing outside, and one of them went up the street. Pretty soon I heard a car drive off. The other man was just a shadow now, standing by a tree in front of the house. You could see he was expecting me to come from the other direction. I stepped through the hedge and went over to him. Would you be looking for anybody in particular?
I might be. Who are you?
Ed Bliss. Who are you?
Detective Stillman, Bureau of Missing Persons. How did you know anyone was looking for you?
Oh, I'm just bright that way.
Yeah? Well, they like bright boys down at headquarters. Come on, let's go.
Tonight, for Suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you as star Mr. Joseph Cotton, whom you've heard in the first act of tonight's tale of Suspense.
In many foreign countries where discerning tastes have found Roma wines, they are an expensive luxury, imported and treasured. For Roma wines are in every sense fine wines from the choicest vineyard country of California. They are products of age-old winemaking skill, aided by modern quality controls and tests that assure unvarying excellence of taste and character. Yet, Roma wines cost you mere pennies a glassful. Such enjoyable flavor and constant quality, such low cost, such high wine value, have made Roma by far America's largest selling wines, enjoyed by millions with meals when entertaining anytime. Try Roma wine yourself. Tomorrow at dinner, no matter what you're serving, place on the table a cool bottle of ruby red, hearty Roma California Burgundy. See how much new zest it adds to food, how it makes a real occasion of even the simplest meal. To enjoy this extra mealtime pleasure, just ask your dealer for ROMA, Roma wine, made in California, for enjoyment throughout the world.
And now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our soundstage Mr. Joseph Cotton, who, in the person of Ed Bliss, resumes the story called You'll Never See Me Again. Tonight's study in Suspense.
There in the shadows, watching my face. Detective Stillman of the Bureau of Missing Persons. I'd been expecting this to happen sooner or later, but now that it had, I was stunned for a moment. He said it again.
Come on, bright boy. They're expecting us at headquarters.
Now, wait a minute. I want to talk to you. I'm in a jam.
Oh, you're telling me.
Not the way you think. Would you come inside with me?
I've been inside. What kind of a furnace do you have in your cellar, Bliss?
An oil burner.
The kind that turns on automatic with an electric cut-in?
That's right. Why? Is there a fuse blown?
How did you know there was a fuse blown?
Was that why you were searching my house with a flashlight, or was it because you didn't have a warrant?
Oh, you really are a bright boy, aren't you? Well, come on.
Now, listen. I don't want to have any arguments. I want help, and I want it bad. Will you give me a break?
What kind of a break?
No, this is no place to talk. Will you come inside?
Okay, but you'd better talk fast and good.
Don't worry. Fuse box is right down here. Flash your light up here. Always keep a couple of fuses on top of it. Yeah, there we are. Let's go in the front room.
After you.
Okay.
Now, what do you want to talk about?
Don't you understand? She's my wife. I'm scared.
Then why did you run out? Why didn't you tell the police?
Because at first I thought it was just, one of those things. And anyway, I knew where she'd gone, back to her mother's.
How did you know that?
Because I went down there after her, because all kinds of people saw her go. Bus drivers, ticket sellers. Only when I got there, she wasn't there.
How much life insurance did you carry on her, Bliss?
$25,000.
Oh, that's quite a lot for a $75 a week architect, isn't it?
Oh, her mother paid for it. A wedding present. For heaven's sake, what do you think I did? Bury it in the cellar or something?
No, we know you didn't do that. We looked.
Oh, cut it out, will you? I love her. We've only been married 3 months.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Give me a break. You take me down to headquarters now. It may be hours.
Oh, it'll be hours, all right.
In the meantime, if there's still a chance, there's got to be. She's somewhere, and she's in danger. I know it.
Yeah, how?
I tell you, I followed her down to her mother's place in West Hampton. There's a guy at the station who remembers selling her a ticket. The bus driver remembers her getting off there, and then she just disappeared.
Then what?
Well, I went down to her mother's house. They hadn't seen her. But there's something funny about it. There's something funny about her mother and that stepfather. There's something funny about that house and about that room.
What room?
That living room of theirs. Listen, you've got to let me help you find her. You've got to go down there to West Hampton with me because I've got a hunch somehow that I'm the only one who can find her.
All right, Bliss. All right. I don't know why, but I believe you.
You do? You'll go?
Yeah. And I shouldn't believe you either because...
Because what?
What was your wife wearing when she ran out on you Monday night?
What was she wearing?
Yes. You must remember what she was wearing.
Well, she was wearing a gray flannel suit, a skirt and jacket, a pink silk shirtwaist, patent leather high-heel shoes, and all those crazy little hats.
Any baggage?
Yeah, a little tan suitcase.
You're sure of that?
Sure.
Well, that's why I shouldn't believe you.
Why not?
Because when you find somebody's clothes around, you usually start looking for the body right nearby.
Well, what do you mean?
They weren't burned up because that fuse had blown. But we found every one of those things in the furnace down in your cellar about 20 minutes ago.
When he said that, I knew there wasn't much time. But he was going up to West Hampton with me anyway. That was the main thing. Of course, first he had to rout out the bus driver, the ticket seller, and check my story with them just to be sure I wasn't trying to pull a fast one. But that was all right. I'd expected that. And we climbed into the police car and headed out to West Hampton. He believed me now, all right. That car couldn't have been pushed any harder if I'd been driving it myself. Still, it was getting daylight when we got there. Parked the car a little ways down the road and walked toward the house. See what I mean, Bert? Take that brick wall, for instance.
Oh, what about it?
It's new. What did he build that for? It's not tall enough to hide the road. It's not even tall enough to keep a dog out. Why'd he build it?
Well, maybe he built it to keep in practice. Come on, let's go in.
It's awfully quiet.
Well, why not? They're probably in bed. Where I'd be if I hadn't let you talk me into...
Listen, Bert, you don't think...
I'm here, ain't I? Go on, ring the bell.
No answer.
Keep trying.
Shades are all down. I don't think they're in.
Come on, let's try the back door.
Shades are down on this side of the house, too. Look, the garage is empty.
Yeah. Well, I guess our birds have flew the coop, all right.
Bert, I don't like this.
Come on, we'll try this back door anyway.
Uh-oh.
It's locked.
Here's an axe.
I'd like to try my keys first. There, that's got it. This the way to the front of the house?
I guess so. I've never been back here.
Yeah, this is it. Here's the front hall.
There it is. What? That room. The living room I was telling you about.
Well, what about it?
Snap on the lights.
All right, I still say, what about it?
I don't know, but don't you get something funny about it?
Oh, what?
Well, the lights, or something about that fresh paint, the rug. There's something, though I know there's something.
Oh, come on. We're wasting time. There's something screwy about the whole joint.
We went over the place from top to bottom. I wanted to get back to that room, and time was awful important. But Bert Stillman wanted to look into everything, which was only right and natural, and Then we ran into something that was just about the last thing I expected.
What's this door here?
I don't know. I thought we'd covered everything on the ground floor before.
It's locked.
Yeah, it must be some sort of back bedroom.
Oh, doggone it, the keys won't fit this one.
Honey, only room in the house that was locked.
Well, maybe we've got what we're looking for. Give me that axe.
Bert, don't you see, if she was here and they've gone, they must have taken her.
Well, who's she?
Mrs. Alden.
Your wife's mother?
Yeah.
Where's your daughter?
Oh, please, please.
Come on. Where is she?
I don't know.
Was she here?
Yes, but
Where is she now?
I don't know.
Did she leave with your husband?
I don't.
Why didn't you tell me she was here the other night?
Joe told me not to. She was here, but the next morning Joe told me she'd left. And this morning he left.
Look, what did you lock yourself up in here for?
I knew when Joe left that something terrible. And when you came, I was frightened. I just...
Come on, Ed. Where to? Don't you get it? For some reason, the stepfather's put the snatch on her. We've got to put a call through to headquarters, get the highway patrols to watch for him.
What about her?
Oh, she comes along.
Oh, please.
Come on. Yes?
There's something wrong about
You bet your life there
Oh,
is.
no, I mean, why would he do it? What motive would he have?
You let me worry about the motive. You worry about your wife.
Got some connection with what's wrong about that room, whatever it is.
Will you forget about this room? We've got to get...
I want to look just once more. I know there's something.
Listen. Do you want your wife back or don't you? There's no...
Bert, I've got it.
You've got what?
It's lopsided. Don't you see? It's not on the square.
Are you crazy?
Oh, no, I'm an architect. Look, the light's on in the middle of the ceiling. The window's on in the middle of the wall.
So what?
The design on the rug is wrong. It's cut off too close to that wall. Bert.
What?
That wall. That's why the room has just been repainted. That's why he built that brick wall in front of the house.
I don't get it.
One wall of this room is a dummy, built out in front of the real one. That's why the room looks lopsided. That's why he built a brick fence, to get bricks without arousing suspicion.
Which wall?
That. And Bert. It must be hollow.
Give me that axe.
You don't think that Janet... Bert, give it to me. Let me.
Get back, you hear me?
Bert. Mrs. Alden. It's Janet. Answer me. Answer me, Mrs. Alden.
Ed.
Yeah?
Ed. Didn't you say your wife was young?
23.
Well, then you can look. This is an older woman.
Oh.
Do you know her?
No.
Well, there's your motive.
Yeah.
But who could it be?
I don't know.
She must know. The mother.
She can't even talk.
Ed, you'd know if she was the mother.
Of course, I'd... No. I wouldn't. I never saw Janet's mother until I came here to the house Monday night.
Mrs. Alden. Mrs. Alden, answer me.
I'm not Mrs. Alden. That's Mrs. Alden.
Just a question of time now whether we'd get back there in time to stop it. It all fit together now, and what Brett didn't know, he got out of the woman on the way back.
Did you know Joe Alden before?
No. Not before I came to their house in Eastport to take care of her. I'm a nurse. And Joe and I...
Uh-huh.
Well, we...
Who got the idea to kill her, you or Joe?
He did. When he saw me giving her a sedative once. She was pretty sick.
Oh, premeditated, huh? Why did he do it?
Money, of course.
She kept a lot of bonds around the house. That's what Joe wanted.
Is that why you moved from Eastport to West Hampton?
Yes. Nobody knew us in West Hampton. We moved in at night. They thought there was only two of us. They thought I was the real Mrs. Alden.
When did he do it?
About a week after we got there. One night. By morning, she was where you found her.
We were doing better than 80 most of the way, but I still didn't think we'd make it. Naturally, Bert was afraid to put the local cops around the house for fear Alden would spot them first and take Janet away and do it somewhere else, if he hadn't done it already. Because Bert Stillman had the picture cold now. Janet had come to the West Hampton house and found her mother was missing before Alden had been able to make his getaway. So Alden had been made to kill Janet, too. Bert knew where he was taking her because of the clothes and the furnace in my house. That was a tip-off that Alden was going to try to plant it on me. It was the only break I had. At least I knew where to look if I could get there in time. The outskirts of town, we picked up a police escort, but Bert made them lay off when they got near the house. He drove up the side street and parked a little ways off. We walked up to the house. There was a car in front of it.
Is that Alden's car?
Yes.
All right. You're coming in with this lady, but the first sound out of you and I'll shoot. And I mean that.
No.
Got your keys, Ed?
Yeah.
Quiet now.
Yeah.
Look. There's a light. That's the door to the cellar. Come on. Listen. He's digging. The light's gone out. He must have heard us. Put on your flashlight. Let's go.
There he is.
Ed, why, you... Hey, what'd you do that for?
Killed my wife, didn't he?
Switch on the light. Maybe it isn't too late yet.
There she is. She's dead.
Yes, chloroform. You smell it? Get that cloth off her face.
Too late, can't you see?
Yeah, I'm afraid... What are you doing carrying a gun, Ed?
I got a permit. Anyway, what's the use of asking questions like this now when...
Look, she's moving.
What?
Yes,
what?
She's alive. Here, give me a hand. Ed, help me.
Ed.
Where are you going, Ed? Put up your hands, Ed.
Okay, they're up.
Come on back down here.
All right. Take it easy. I'm coming.
Ed, you could at least have done it yourself. Instead of hiring murderers.
What did you do it for? The money?
What do you think? For fun?
Go ahead. Talk.
Anything to make you happy. Would have been perfect if Alden had killed her when he first got her in the cellar like I told him to. Maybe he had a sneaking idea I was going to double-cross him. He was stalling until the last minute. I don't know. Anyway, won't do him much good where he is.
What did you have on him, Ed?
The mother, his wife. I'd been up there before alone. I knew he'd killed his wife because I'd seen a picture Janet had of a real mother. And I spotted the room right away. I told Alden I'd split the money with him if he did it. And if he didn't...
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Well, I knew I could pick a fight with Janet. I knew she'd run up to her mother's. Then I went up there to make it look good. After I left, Alden was to call the cops like he did. You'd take me down here to headquarters, and while you were giving me the old third degree, Alden was supposed to plant the body in the cellar. That way, I was in the clear because you'd know I couldn't have done it while I was down here talking to you. And you'd know she hadn't been there before because you'd looked. That's why I planted the clothes in the furnace, remember? So you would look.
Smart.
I had an alibi, and nobody had a thing on Alden unless I squawked. And he had to take that chance. Looked pretty good there for a while, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, your wife's outside. Do you want to say anything to her?
Yeah. Just tell her I said, you'll never see me again.
And so closes You'll Never See Me Again, starring Joseph Cotton. Tonight's study in Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear.
To every woman listening tonight, I want to say a special word about making every dinner or supper you serve taste better. I want to urge you to start serving Roma wine with your meals. It's simple. The cost is very, very little. And it works magic in making food more enjoyable. You can serve Roma wine with any meal or any time in any kind of glass you wish. Serve it chilled. Try different kinds of Roma wine until you find those you enjoy most of all. Try hearty, red Roma California Burgundy or the delicately delicious Roma California Sauterne. The cost is only pennies a glass, but you'll find even a pickup supper tastes like a banquet. Get Roma wines today. If your dealer is temporarily out of them, please try again soon. Just ask for ROMA, Roma Wines, America's largest selling wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
Joseph Cotton appeared through the courtesy of David O. Selznick and is currently being seen in the Selznick production Since You Went Away. Next Thursday, same time, you will hear Miss Merle Oberon as star of Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, ROMA, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Now, Roma Wines present
Suspense. Tonight, The Bluebeard of Bellaco, starring Merle Oberon.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's ROMA, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, who tonight from Hollywood bring you a star, Miss Merle Oberon, and a suspense play inspired by an actual recent news item from occupied France. And so with The Bluebeard of Bellaco, and with the performance of Merle Oberon, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
All right, get back there. Stay back there. Back of the wall. All of you, come on.
This time.
One. They found most of him.
A man?
It was a soldier, a German.
I thought it was an officer.
Stay back. Back there, all of you.
But they're still digging?
Yes. What officer was it, did they say?
They think it was Captain Müller. You know, the doctor.
They think?
They don't know. They're looking for his head.
It's an announcement about this.
Of course, they found the body, identified the body. Why don't they identify him?
Identify him?
The Bluebeard. Why don't they find out who he is?
Listen.
Achtung, Achtung, villagers of Bellaco, Saint-Jean, Bralagnon, Fumé, Achtung. This morning's victim of the Bluebeard of Bellaco is identified as Captain Franz Müller, medical officer attached to the staff of Colonel Strelitz.
They'll catch him now.
And for the first time, the Bluebird himself has been seen, and a description has been provided. He is described as being of medium height, broad-shouldered, heavy-set.
Monsieur,
His
Monsieur,
hair
please.
is dark brown to
Yes?
black. When seen,
I must speak with Colonel Strelitz. Is he here? I have information.
Information about what?
About the Bluebeard. Is the Colonel here?
He's in the staff car, over there.
Please take me to him. I must see him.
And who are you?
Cécile Combray, Madame Combray. I live on the road to Flomé, just outside the village.
Well, all right, come along, madame.
Is that the Colonel sitting in the back of the car?
Yes, wait here. I'll see. Oberst Strelitz, Corporal Brecht.
Corporal?
Herr Oberst, das ist eine Frau vom Dorf hier. Eine Madame Combray. Sie hat angeblich Informationen über den Blaubart.
Naja, wahrscheinlich hier so ein hysterisches Frauenzimmer, Herr Oberst.
Was können wir noch machen? Das ist eine Möglichkeit. Wo ist sie?
Dort drüben, Herr Oberst. Ich habe ihr gesagt, sie soll warten.
In Ordnung. So herkommen.
Jawohl, Herr Oberst. The Colonel will see you, madam.
Oh, thank you.
Das ist Madame Combray, Herr Oberst.
Madame, this is my aide, Lieutenant Kreutzer.
It was kind of you to let me speak with you, monsieur.
Kind? Naturally, madame. When we were told you have information about the Bluebeard.
Yes, I have.
We can't overlook anything. Now that he's killed one of my own officers.
I know. And I am next.
So?
The Bluebeard is going to kill me. He's going to kill me tonight unless you help me. Unless you come home with me and stop him.
This is your information?
Yes.
Why, every woman in Bellac believes she's next on the Bluebeard's list.
But I know.
Madame, the Colonel's time is valuable. We thought you had real information. You don't expect us simply because you hysterically believe...
No, please. I know, Colonel Strelitz.
How can you know?
Because, monsieur. Because the Bluebeard is my husband.
Why? Your husband?
Dr. Pierre Combray. Yes. He's the man you're looking for. I've known it for a long time. He is the Bluebeard.
Tonight for Suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you a star, Miss Merle Oberon, whom you have heard in the prologue to The Bluebeard of Bellac by Sylvia Richards. Tonight's tale of Suspense.
In many foreign lands, wherever wine connoisseurs gather, they enthusiastically praise the distinguished character of Roma wines. Such praise of Roma wines in foreign lands can only mean that they are truly magnificent in quality. Roma wine's excellence is due to a unique combination of California's perfect soil and climate, from whence come the choice Roma wine grapes, plus age-old winemaking skill and modern knowledge. These combine to make Roma constant in quality, uniformly fine, unexcelled in value. Tomorrow, discover for yourself the delightful Roma taste and goodness, enjoyed by more Americans than any other wine. Simply serve as an appetizer before dinner a cool glass of golden, nut-like Roma California sherry. Then on the table, place a bottle of cool, hearty Roma Burgundy. You'll be pleasantly surprised at the extra delight it adds to your meal, how it will win new compliments from family or guests. Yet, the cost is only pennies a glassful. Get Roma wines tomorrow. If your dealer is temporarily out of Roma, please try again soon. Ask for ROMA, Roma wines. Remember, more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wine.
And now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our soundstage Miss Merle Oberon as Madame Cécile Combray in The Bluebeard of Bellac, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
11 o'clock. He'll be here in an hour. And if you would not come here with me...
You have nothing to fear, madame. The house is well guarded.
But won't the guards frighten him away?
Their instructions are to let him through. They will come in only when we have him trapped. And we are armed.
Yes, and he does not carry a gun. You know he uses a knife.
Madame Combray, why didn't you come to us before, if you knew your husband was a Bluebeard?
First, I wasn't sure. Then, when I was sure, well, he was still my husband.
Then why now?
Because now he will kill me, and I'm afraid. I knew when he went away with the body of Captain Muller yesterday.
Well, you saw the captain.
Yes, I saw it. And when Pierre looked at me, I knew he'd kill me tonight.
Yes, he may try.
It's been weeks of fear. And the night, the endless nights.
Have you been married long, madame?
Long? No, less than a year.
You aren't French, are you?
No, I'm English. I spent a summer in Flomé about 4 years ago, and I liked it, so I stayed. I taught English in the village school there.
And Dr. Combray?
About a year ago, there was an epidemic in Flomé, and he, Pierre, came there to help. He seemed to me when I met him to be very kind, a very noble man. Of course, I didn't know him well, but when he asked me to marry him, I was very happy. The morning after we were married, he brought me here to Bellac, to this house which has been his family's for many generations. It was a beautiful morning, early spring. We came, as you did tonight, up the hill past the summer house to the front door.
Well, here it is, Madame Combray. Come, I'll carry you over the threshold.
Oh, careful, Pierre. Don't drop me.
No chance of that. Now, this is the hall. Shall I carry you on from room to room?
Oh, Pierre, no. Put me down.
Very well. There. Come this way. Now, here is the parlor. Oh. Hello, Captain Muller.
Good morning, Doctor. I've been waiting. I hope you don't mind. They said you'd be back this morning, the people down the road.
Yes, I was held up by my wedding.
Your wedding?
Oh, I'm sorry. Cecile, this is Captain Muller, the medical officer in charge with Colonel Strelitz. Captain, my wife, Cecile.
How do you do, Herr Muller?
Well, Doctor, I congratulate you. I see even an epidemic can be useful.
That's one way of looking at it. So what's up, Muller?
What, I wanted you to come in tomorrow to help with the vaccinations. About 150 are going out and we need help. The last lot carried typhoid.
I'll be glad to have what time?
Well, they're leaving at noon now. If you're there at 8 o'clock, we'll have enough time.
I'll be there.
Very well, Doctor. Madame, tomorrow then. Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler. Now, we go on with our tour. Follow me.
Pierre, who's to be vaccinated tomorrow?
All labor draftees being sent to Germany. This is the kitchen. The stairs go up from here.
What's upstairs?
Well, off that first landing, there are several bedrooms, mine and others, and on the floor above, still more. Before the war, there were servants.
And this is a pantry?
Yes.
And this door? Where does it... It's locked. What is it?
Oh, that is an old wine cellar. It's not used.
A cellar? Do you have a key?
There's nothing down there, Cecile, that would interest you.
But I'd like to see. We might be able to grow mushrooms.
No, Cecile, it can't be used.
Oh, let's look, Pierre. Where's the key?
Cecile.
Yes?
That door must stay locked.
But Pierre...
You understand?
Yes, but why?
No matter what happens, you must never try to go down there. Never.
You see, monsieur, it was a small thing. Just a room I must not enter. He told me the room was used for his experiments, and I believed him. I was in love. But there were other things, and they added up to fear. Just the taste of fear. A shadow so light, I didn't know it was there. There was first of all the gossip I heard in the village when I went to market.
Good morning, Madame Combray. You're late today.
Pierre worked late last night. Is there any milk, Madame Beauchet?
I can let you have a pint.
Oh, well, if that's all.
Does the doctor work often at night?
Quite often, in his laboratory.
No, I could not bear a man who pottered around after dark.
But it's his profession.
Maybe, but I would not sleep a wink. Not with this Bluebeard about. No, I like a man who is steady, so I know what he's up to. Oh, how can you bear to live in that big, depressing house?
Oh, but I love it.
Well, you're young. I suppose it's romantic to you. It's no place for a woman to be alone. You know the first Madame Combray? She died there.
Yes, Pierre told me. But I know he did everything he could.
Oh, yeah?
It was very sudden. Typhoid can be very sudden.
Yes, the certificate said typhoid. That's why her coffin was sealed. Oh. Jean! Jean, what is it?
What happened? Everyone's running.
There's an announcement, madame. They know who one of them is.
One? Of whom?
There were 3 last night. One of them was a man.
3?
Why, the Bluebeard. He killed 3 in one night. Cut them to bits.
Oh, how horrible.
All sliced up and scattered around, Madame Combray. You should have seen.
Oh, no. Where were they?
In the meadow north of the church. Why, that's near your house.
The meadow?
Yes, Madame Combray. If you had been awake, you would have heard him. You or the doctor.
Yes, if I'd been awake, I would have heard. And one night, I was awake. My husband and I had gone to bed early, and I slept well. I'd worked in the garden most of the afternoon. Shortly after 11, some sound woke me. It may have been only an owl's screech. I lay in the dark and listened. But I didn't hear it again. Then I heard another sound. And I saw there was a little moonlight. That my husband was out of bed and that he was dressing. Pierre.
Oh, did I wake you?
Pierre, what is it?
Nothing, Cecile. Go back to sleep.
Is someone ill? Did someone come for you?
I've got to go out. Go back to sleep, Cecile. I won't be long.
Something woke me. I heard a sound.
I'm sorry.
Did someone come for you? Was it Captain Muller?
No.
Who was it, Pierre? Who's ill?
No one you know.
Where are you going, Pierre? Do you have to go far?
Go back to sleep. I won't be long.
But, Pierre...
I'm sorry I woke you.
But you didn't. I'm sure I heard...
Cecile, it's best that you go back to sleep.
I just wondered...
It's best for you. Good night, Cecile.
He went away, Colonel Strelitz, and I lay there in my bed, frigid, listening to his steps down the dark stairs into this kitchen. I heard the front door open and close. Then he went down the gravel path in the moonlight. I waited. It seemed long, yet it was only a little time. That clock there, I could hear it through the floor. Chimed the quarter, then the half. When I heard him, it was not yet midnight, and he came slowly, climbing up the hill. I slipped out of bed and went down the stairs to the landing there, from where I could watch him come into the kitchen. But when he came into the kitchen, I could not speak, for he was not alone. Over his shoulders he carried a body. A man, I think. And he was stooped under his horrible burden. He crossed the kitchen without looking up and did not hear what I was sure he must hear. The pounding of my heart. He took a key from his pocket, holding the body with one hand, unlocked that door to the wine cellar, and went into its awful blackness. Then I was back in my room. I don't remember how I got there, cold and shaking in my bed. When I heard... Oh, monsieur, it was pitiful. I heard rising from the depths of the house, from where he had gone, the scream of a man in fearful agony.
Cecile?
Yes, Pierre.
You are still awake.
No, Pierre,
I told you to go back to sleep.
I was, Pierre. I
But
did.
you are awake now.
Something. I heard something.
Yes, you heard?
It must have been you opening the door.
Oh.
You came in suddenly. You must have.
Yes, I think I did. Well, we'll go back to sleep now.
Yes, we'll go to sleep. Pierre.
Yes.
Was someone ill?
Yes.
Who was it, Pierre? Did you have to go far?
We'll go to sleep now, Cecile.
What time is it?
Time? It's just past midnight.
Midnight was usually the hour, his hour. He always came back soon after. And the following day, there were always the announcements on the loudspeakers in the village. Bodies. Pieces of bodies. There was the day when your men found her dead. It was so horrible for me because she was so beautiful and still only a child. You remember, the body was yet warm. So the whistles were blown, calling all the village to the church square. Because the Bluebeard might still carry his knife or have blood on him. Or he might not get there and be known because he was missing. I was in the village and I ran to the square with the mayor. And we stood in line with the others. Everyone was there. Everyone. Except Pierre. What terror I felt, monsieur, when you began to call the names.
Felix Armand?
Here.
Paul Arden?
Here.
Yvette Barthélemy?
Madame Combray, are you ill?
It's just the sun. It's so warm that I feel chill.
You're very pale. Here? Why, I don't see Pierre.
Here. He's probably with Captain Muller. He'll be here.
Pierre Combray? Pierre?
Here, I'm here.
Pierre.
Don't look at me like that. You'll attract notice.
You're out of breath. Where were you, Pierre?
Does it matter? I'm here.
But your hands, your clothes, they're wet. So you see, I still did not know. And I needed to be sure. I could not live unless I was sure. So I stole the key to the cellar. Yes, it was that easy, while he slept. And the next day he went to the village with Captain Muller and left me alone with the answer in my hand. I opened the door and went down those steps, carrying a candle. We will go down there in a moment, Colonel Strelitz, to wait for him, and you will see. There is a little room, bare and damp. By the candle's light, I saw there was something on the table. It was this case, filled with knives, surgical instruments. Not strange for a doctor, but there was blood on them, fresh blood. And there was more on the table, on the floor, and much blood on a sheet which I found thrown into the corner. I found the strength to get out and to lock the door again. I put the key back that night. So again, I did not know. I did not really know until yesterday. I was sewing in the front parlor, and Pierre was walking up and down because he had an appointment with Captain Muller. The captain was late.
Devil, what's keeping Muller?
Perhaps he got orders. More soldiers came into Bellaco yesterday. Many more.
Yes, I know, but that shouldn't keep him.
There's something going on. They're getting ready for something.
Yes, but why would Muller...
Oh, do sit down, Pierre. Your walking makes me nervous. I've spoiled the seam and have to rip it out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Some of the soldiers were searching houses yesterday. I don't know what they were looking for.
Did they come here?
Oh, no. At least, not while I was here. I was in the village most of the afternoon. That's when I saw the soldiers. And there's nothing here to look for. Is there, Pierre?
That's it. Of course. Why didn't I think he's down there?
Pierre, where are you going?
I'm going down to this cellar, Cecile. I have work.
Pierre, no. Not the captain.
Yes, the captain and Cecile. I don't want her to be disturbed.
Then I knew. He was going to kill Captain Muller. He was going to kill a German soldier. Worse, an officer. I knew then, Colonel Strelitz, that if he would go that far, he was no longer a man I could even attempt to reason with. His insane urge to kill might turn on anyone, even me. I had to stop him.
Oh! Cecile! Cecile, what are you doing? I told you not to come down here.
You killed him.
Cecile, now I'll have to... But I wasn't ready. It's not time.
Captain Miller, they'll track you down. You can't
Cecile,
get away.
Be quiet. I warned you. I told you not to.
Murder. You did it. You killed him and the others.
Cecile, I told you, for your own sake, for both of us.
What will you do now?
Do? What do you think I'll have to do?
And now, you know too. And in a few minutes he'll come, and then it will be over. It's almost midnight.
Well, it's a remarkable story, madame. So he made no attempt to harm you last night?
No, Colonel Strelitz. It wasn't time.
Not time?
He kills only when he feels the need. And he'd already killed one, so the need was gone. And it was daylight.
He left then?
Yes. I haven't seen him since. He looked at me. It was a terrible look. And he went. And I knew by the look that I would be next. Tonight.
And Captain Miller?
He took the captain's body with him. Come. We must go down to the cellar now, before midnight.
Very well.
Lieutenant, will you bring the lamp?
Yes, I'll bring it.
You see, it's unlocked as he left it. Close the door behind you, Colonel.
Very well.
Careful, the last step. And then another door.
Oh, it is small and damp.
Is that the table? Where he...
Yes. Set the lamp there, Lieutenant. You can see the stairs. They are quite dry by now.
I see. On the floor.
Sit down, monsieur. There, where you can watch the door. I will stand here at the back, if you don't mind.
You're right. It's safest for you.
Listen. I heard the clock strike. And... Yes. Listen.
It's the door.
Have you your guns?
Shh, quiet. Yes, but we want to take him alive.
You can. He's coming down.
Cecile, are you there?
Put your hands up, Dr. Combray.
Ah, visitors. Well done, Cecile.
Scarcely visitors, Doctor. Bit more unpleasant for you. Now, if you will...
Put your hands up, Colonel Strelitz. You too, Lieutenant.
Oh, Madame Combray.
Yes, I too had a gun.
But your husband, he's the Bluebeard? I'll take your gun, Colonel, and yours. No, Colonel, I am no Bluebeard, as you knew very well. It was clever of you to plant the mutilated bodies of your victims to drive me into the open. To create this legend of a Bluebeard to make the people of Bellaco suspect all men who work at night as I do. To make the village distrust me, their leader.
But, Madame Combray, you saw Captain Miller, saw his body.
The captain, yes. Pierre killed Captain Miller. He was his one victim. Because the captain was suspicious and pried a little too far into this room. Pierre had to kill him because he saw our radio station behind that wall. Open it, Pierre, and let the colonel see.
You see, the wall opens easily, and behind it the nerve center for Bellaco, for our underground army.
Army? Sneaks and cowards who set their women to lying.
I lied?
What else? You said that he carried in a body
that there was a scream in the night, that there was a body.
All true, Colonel.
Yes, I carried home a man wounded by your soldiers, and I removed the bullet without anesthesia, for we French have no such luxuries. So the blood of that patriot is mixed on the table with that of the late Captain Muller.
Don't you know it's hopeless for you?
Hopeless? Colonel, surely you know there are armies in France. Americans, English, and our underground army which surrounds you.
But this house is surrounded by my men.
It was, you mean, Colonel.
Yes. Are you still there, Mr. Porter?
Porter?
Yeah, what do you say, Doc?
Everything quiet?
As quiet as a tomb, Doc. Things down there.
Who's that? We have what you call a couple of rats, Mr. Porter. Then we are finished.
Okay.
That is Mr. Porter. As you heard, he is an American.
An American? Here?
He is commanding a large number of parachutists who just an hour ago dropped into our meadow, and who a few minutes ago very quietly killed the guards you mentioned.
Killed? My God.
Yes, and since you were here in the cellar, unfortunately, you could not hear. But now, Pierre, you have your work to finish.
Your work? I have orders from my army to kill you and the lieutenant, to secure this advance for our allies. So with Cecile's help, I set this little trap.
Listen to me. You won't...
Cecile, do you want to share the honor?
No.
For France? Yes.
Oh!
It is an honor.
And so closes The Bluebeard of Bellaco, starring Merle Oberon. Tonight's study in Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear.
Have you discovered how much good wine adds to the enjoyment of food? How Roma wine makes even the simplest, most inexpensive meals really exciting events? Well, all you need do is place on the table with the meal a cool bottle of hearty Roma California Burgundy. Serve it in any kind of glass. You will find it delicious with any food. And if you are entertaining guests, you will find Roma wine just the gracious, festive note that makes any dinner party or get-together a happy, compliment-arousing occasion. And remember, Roma wines cost you only pennies a glassful, so any home can afford the pleasure they add to everyday living, to entertaining. Ask for R-O-M-A, Roma wines. Remember, more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wine.
Merle Oberon is soon to be seen in the Columbia Technicolor production, A Song to Remember. Next Thursday, same time, you will hear Mr. Gene Kelly as star of Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Didn't know the fellow at all. Say, you haven't touched your champagne. You'll let all the kick go out of it.
I'm afraid all the kick has gone out of it.
Well, we'll soon take care of it. Oh, my billfold. Where did you find it?
It was on the floor. The waiter picked it up.
The waiter, did he look at it?
No.
Well, we found an honest man, eh? Have to remember him.
Hadn't you better look to see if you found an honest woman?
I'll take a chance.
On my honesty, yes. But what about a woman's curiosity?
Oh, I see. Well, now you know. Well, I must be more careful of my things in future. But you know, I'm sure you wouldn't tell anyone anything.
No?
No. I knew from the very first that I could trust you implicitly.
Stop your music. Stop your music. Stop it. Stop.
What's happened? What's up, Stuart? Why is the music stopped? What's the matter?
Attention, everybody. The first officer has something to say to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to break in on your dancing this way, but I assure you this won't take long. We've just received a radiogram from London, and I must ask your cooperation.
Something important? Maybe it's war with Germany.
No, it isn't war. Nothing nearly as alarming as that. However, the London police suspect that we're carrying a stowaway, and they've asked us to make a thorough search of the ship and report back to them.
Really? Must be a criminal.
A criminal? Oh, no. I don't...
Perhaps it's the blackout killer.
Killer on our ship?
Now, wait a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen. It won't help to get excited. The ship is being searched. He'll never get off. All we ask is that you keep your cabins locked.
I was afraid this might happen.
How long did you expect to keep it from them?
But naturally, I was hoping they'd never... Judith. Well, Judith, what's wrong? Where are you going?
Hey, look at him.
Well, what the devil?
Hey, what's the matter, handsome? She run out on you?
Well, please let me through, will you?
Okay, sure. Go to it, mister. Don't let her get away. You know, maybe she thinks that you're the blackout killer.
Tonight for Suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you Olivia de Havilland and Reginald Gardner. You have heard them in the first act of Voyage Through Darkness by Joel Malone. Tonight's tale of Suspense.
It is a fact that connoisseurs of many foreign lands have discovered the excellence of Roma wines, the greatness of California's wine country from which Roma comes. But millions of Americans also know these things and have made Roma by far the most popular, the largest selling of all America's wines. Here at home, Roma wines are truly inexpensive. For only pennies a glass, your meals, your entertaining can have the added delight of superb Roma wines. You will find them constant in quality, of unvarying excellent taste and character. Fine products of age-old winemaking skill, perfected by modern knowledge. To start enjoying this really fine wine yourself, simply place on the table with dinner tomorrow. Now, Roma Wines present... Suspense. Tonight, Voyage Through Darkness, starring Olivia de Havilland and Reginald Gardner. Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California. Tonight from Hollywood, we bring you the distinguished American leading lady of the screen, Miss Olivia de Havilland. Miss de Havilland appears as a girl named Judith Webster, who found herself embarked upon a journey into darkness. Traveling with her on this perilous voyage is that suave and debonair actor, Mr. Reginald Gardner. So with the performances of Miss de Havilland and Mr. Gardner in this sea-going adventure play, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
It happened in 1939, shortly before England and Germany were at war. I was in London, serving as traveling companion to Mrs. Edna Prescott, a wealthy, quite elderly American woman. She wasn't a pleasant person, and the city's practiced blackouts were a particular source of annoyance to her. I remember thinking how ironic it was that she should die during one of them. I even thought it the cause until the doctors assured me her death was due to a common heart ailment. I was very busy for the next few days, arranging passage to America, getting my train ticket down to Southampton, and carrying out the promise I had made so many times to Mrs. Prescott. I didn't relish any part of that.
Miss Webster, oh, yes. The young woman who's escorting the casket. Oh, here's your ticket. Gate 5, please.
Both trains for Southampton. This way, please.
The young woman who's escorting the casket. He said it so matter-of-factly, as if such things occurred every day. I suppose they do. And yet, every minute on that train I felt uncomfortable, on edge. It seemed as if the trip to Southampton and the steamer docks would never end. I remember how glad I was when it did, and how cheerful the steward's voice sounded as he greeted me at the head of the gangway.
Good evening, miss. Welcome aboard. May I show you to your cabin?
Please do, steward. I'm very tired.
12A, B deck. This way, miss.
Tracking down blackout killer. We hot on train the blackout killer.
I hope they get him all right, miss.
Get who?
Police have new clue on blackout killer.
Boy, that blackout killer. The police have a new clue on him, he says.
Oh, yes. An awful thing.
Ah, here we are, miss. 12A. You have it all to yourself.
Thank you, steward. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you are.
Oh, that's quite all right, miss. Thanks, and good night. Call me if you need me now.
Good night. In my stateroom, perfectly safe, I realized how jittery I'd been, how upset. And now, how relieved. Suddenly I began to laugh right out loud. My fears had been so foolish, so very foolish. An hour later, I went out on deck. I no longer felt tired, and I wanted to watch the lights of the coastline fading away from us. I was standing near the aft rail, quietly looking out across the water, when he first spoke.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Did I frighten you?
Oh, yes. Yes, you did. I didn't realize there was anyone near that lifeboat.
Well, I'm sorry. I was sure you saw me. I never would have...
Well, it's all right, really. I've been nervous tonight anyway. I'm not always so jumpy.
What you need is an ocean voyage.
Maybe that's it.
Were you watching the shore lights?
Yes, and I never did answer your question. They are beautiful.
Very. And the sea alone is beautiful. She has moods, you know, just like a woman. Gentle sometimes and soothing, then suddenly flying into a rage and dashing things to pieces.
And then quieting right down again.
That's right. I see we feel the same about her.
Does she frighten you sometimes?
The same way women frighten me.
Oh?
I mean, when I don't understand them.
Well, I thought it was the general male consensus that we weren't supposed to be understood.
Only loved. Isn't that the rest of it?
Something like that.
Anyway, it's a philosophy I disagree with.
That's refreshing.
Ah, the lady is amused.
Oh, not at all. It's just that the lady detects a bachelor.
Because I have a mind of my own?
Well, that's one good clue. But listen to me. I'm lecturing to you as if I believe that bit of triteness ends up as if I'd known you all my life.
Oh, wait a minute. There's another which makes it perfectly all right. It's that shipboard friendships last forever business. However, my name is Alan Bruce. Yours?
Judith Webster.
A miss or...
Miss.
Good. Well, we got through that.
Quite nicely.
You suppose we could get through a dance? There's music in the salon.
Well, there's no longer any view of the shore lights. However, you did say the sea alone was beautiful.
I was so wrong. There's nothing as monotonous as...
Well-chilled bottle of hearty, ruby red Roma, California Burgundy. Don't worry about what the meal is or what glasses you have handy. you'll be delightfully surprised at how much extra enjoyment you get from your meal. How Roma wine makes even the simplest meal a feast. Enjoy Roma wines anytime with meals when entertaining. It's the easy, inexpensive way to make a big hit with guests and with the family. Be sure to ask your dealer for ROMA, Roma wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
And now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our sound stage Miss Olivia de Havilland and Mr. Reginald Gardner as they continue Voyage Through Darkness, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'll never know why I left the dining salon without telling them. Certainly there could no longer be any doubt. It was all too clear. That loose canvas covering on the lifeboat, the way he'd been standing there, even the name he had given me, Alan Bruce. I saw it later on the regular passenger list. He must have killed Bruce and thrown him overboard, taking not only his name, but his stateroom and clothes. It was all so fantastic. Worse than anything else. I had almost fallen in love with him. He knew that, I'm certain. It was why he was so confident that I wouldn't tell anyone. And I didn't. Not even when I spoke to the first officer about my promise to Mrs. Prescott. I wanted to tell him, but somehow...
Webster, I'll arrange it for early tomorrow morning. Most of the passengers will be asleep.
Thank you. I suppose it's rather unusual, but then Mrs. Prescott was an unusual woman.
I haven't conducted a burial at sea since the last war. However, I'm not entirely unprepared. The company officials spoke to me about this before sailing, and... Well, now, don't you worry, Miss Webster. The ceremony will be quite in order, I assure you.
Thank you.
I'll bid you good day, ma'am. I wish you hadn't done that. Oh, I'm sorry. I seem to have a habit of startling you.
What do you want? How long have you been standing there?
Long enough to overhear that conversation.
You had no right. What are you doing in my cabin?
Please, I know what you're going to say. I had no right to be here or to listen. However, it's fortunate that I did.
What do you mean?
I didn't know that it was Mrs. Prescott's desire to be buried at sea.
No one knew it. But it was her last wish. I promised her it would be carried out.
And tomorrow morning you're keeping that promise?
Yes. And now, if you'll excuse me, I don't feel very well. I'd like to...
Wait, please, Judith. You've been avoiding me, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I hope it's only because you've been upset. About Mrs. Prescott, I mean.
That's one reason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I almost thought we were all that water.
It is kind of flat.
Yes, well, let's trade it for champagne, shall we? Be with you in a minute.
Where are you going?
Well, just over here. Wanted to do the skipper a little favor.
What is it? Oh, the lifeboat cover. How did that ever get so loose?
I don't know. I noticed it a while back. There. Well, that should do it.
Strange. It was almost as if... Oh, no.
Well, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to get melodramatic and suggest that someone might have been hiding there.
You mean a stowaway?
Yes. Well, of course it's silly.
I wouldn't say so.
You're joking.
Not at all. It's quite possible someone could have slipped on board and hid in that boat. That's why I think we shouldn't mention this to anyone.
What?
It would only cause an alarm.
But I don't understand. If you really think there might have been someone... I shall never forget that moment and the thoughts which went racing through my mind. My nervousness on the train, those horrible headlines about the blackout killer that newsboy had shouted an hour before. Alan's strange attitude about the lifeboat, the whole unpleasant nature of this voyage, and my promise to Mrs. Prescott. I wanted to turn and run, wanted to cry out, but somehow I couldn't. It was like a dream when you can't move. And then the darkness was swept away, and I was no longer dreaming. I was in Alan's arms dancing. There were laughing, carefree people all about us, and the ship's salon was so bright and friendly. I was ashamed for even thinking there might have been anything wrong.
Had enough? They just brought our champagne.
Well, in that case, yes. I'd about given up.
Well, a fine way to talk about my dancing.
You know perfectly well what I mean.
Oh, all right. Let her go, waiter.
Right you are, sir.
There we are. All right. Thank you, waiter. That'll be all.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that does look good.
And is. Well, what should we toast to? Shipboard friendship?
Shipboard friendship.
You know,
What is it? Something wrong?
No, nothing at all. Just thought I saw someone. Will you excuse me a moment?
Well, of course.
I won't be long.
Everything all right, miss? Oh, excuse me, miss, but the gentleman, he dropped this billfold.
Oh, thank you, waiter. I didn't notice. Would you just leave it there on the table?
Very good, miss. There you are.
The billfold fell open as the waiter placed it on the table. I couldn't take my eyes from it. There was an identification card in plain sight. The name on the card was not Alan Bruce. It was Charles Drew.
Sorry to have run off that way. I never should have.